The Pegasus Day Late Pick 5 edition of the Notorious OTB on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHN. Welcome, everybody, to the Notorious OTB, brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And, folks, as always,
it's all good, baby. It was all a dream.
We used to read Blood Horse magazine. I got my Cuban links
Yes,
on.
Cuban B.
And I'm your host, Chase Sessoms, the Wolf of Oaklawn.
I'd rather be trapped than lazy. Don't care what they say, I'ma do what pays me.
It happens every year about this time. Weaklings act like they lost their mind. Alphas reclaim the neighborhood. Rob the sheep and all the wolves get good.
Yes. Welcome to the show. Joining me, as always, you know him as the Michelangelo of the crime, Michael Jordan. He's your favorite capper's favorite capper, Barry the Sniper Spears.
You know how we do. Rockefeller. Forever. You can catch me skating through your town, putting it down. Y'all relating, no waiting. I'll make your block infrared hot. I'm like Satan.
Barry, what's good?
Not much, my brother. What's going on with you over there in the great state of Arkansas?
That's flattering that you call it the great state, but I will take it. You know, it's a good day. Barry, it's a good day because we have a guest. We've picked up around here. We've got company. We got someone joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us today. He's star of screens large and small. And he's got what has to be at least the North American record for leaving a brother hanging on a high five. He's one of the earliest friends of the show, and he's also the only Sacramento Kings fan I know. Put your hands together for Mr. Ken Rudulph. How you doing, Ken?
Like that beam. Like the beam. How you guys doing? Everybody all right?
Yeah, pretty good, man. What have you been up to?
Everything. Freelancing, right? Doing what I do on television. Also making a transition. Adjunct professor teaching broadcast courses at a couple of local colleges here, which is actually really, really fun. I got lucky. My friend is already hooked up, and so he kind of helped me streamline that process. So I'm really excited. That's all fun. Doing some silly stuff on YouTube and whatnot, just trying to get started on that slowly but surely, and turning my son into a future Major League Baseball all-star pitcher. All of that and so much more. So I'm not doing that.
That's a lot.
I love, for one, I love the updates on your like progress in baseball. Two, I love the debate you sparked over like how much shit can I talk to a referee of like a youth sport.
Man, okay, I don't know anything about anybody's family. Barry, I know that you have kids, obviously.
Yeah.
You got kids?
Yeah, I got 2 girls.
Okay, so have you done any coaching? Do they play anything?
Oh, dude, my dad was an absolute nightmare when I was a kid. He was like the what you don't want to be. So like I just sit back and I let coaches coach. I let refs ref. So I'm trying not to traumatize anybody.
Right. No, exactly. So I'm gonna quickly make my point about that because I feel like everybody is a parent, and everyone, if you're not a parent, you're like an uncle or whatever, an aunt, and you go see your nephew, whatever, you understand. And so when people make these ridiculous blanket statements on social media, oh, you should never do this with that. I'm like, have you ever been to a game before? Have you been part of a game before? Have you ever been a volunteer coach? And so the league that I was in, I've been in a bunch of leagues. I've coached my son, and I coached before. I was a youth. I was an umpire when I was 14 years old. So like, I just always have been a part of it. But the league that I was in, like, I'm the volunteer manager of the team. So now I got to go find an assistant. So you find assistants, great. But sometimes my assistant can't make it to practice. So I'm out there by myself doing practice for 11 and 12-year-olds for an hour and a half. And that's a lot of work. Plus we have to do all the field maintenance ourselves. So there's all these things that go into being the volunteer coach or manager, right? Like I've only had one issue with one umpire in 15 years, and it really scarred me. Because I was like, hey, man, like I'm working my ass off over here.
Yeah.
And this guy was an absolute dick. And he almost cost us a game during the regular season. I had to call the commissioner, get that straightened out. And I remember we come to this playoff game. It's the last game I ever managed. There's a playoff game, and he wouldn't even shake my hand. I'm like, I ain't even do nothing to you. You're the one that
Oh,
was.
see, that's how you know the
Right?
deck is stacked against you. Yeah.
So we had 5. So then we're going to the game. It's close, and then he's calling outside strikes, and he called my kid out. Not my kid, as in my son, but the kid on my team. Call him out, and I'm out at first base, and I came in. I admitted everybody. I came in hot. I was like, "What are you doing?" His name's. I'm not going to say his name. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And then he calls him out, and I'm like, "Hey man, where was that at?" And he's like, "It's a strike." And I'm like, "Yeah, I gathered that. Where was it?" He's like, "I'm not going to argue balls and strikes." And I'm like, "His name."
I'm not arguing. Where is it?
I'm not arguing.
Location.
And I yell, I'm like, the plate has corners. Was it inside or outside? It's a simple question. And then he's like, "You're out of here." And I'm like, "What are you doing, man? This is a playoff game. Like, what are you doing?" So my whole thing with bringing that kind of discussion to people is like, look, there are all these different situations. You're thinking of the scenario where the parent is coming out of the stands, he's drunk, and he's yelling at the umpire.
Right.
I'm like, that's obvious. But what about the volunteer coach that actually should get some respect and consideration from the one person who's being paid to be professional? In the entire scenario of youth sports, there's only one person who's paid to be there, and that's the umpire or the referee. So your job is to be professional. Even if I'm in the stands and I say, "That's a bad call, Blue," what's that got to do with you? Keep doing your job. But the umpire is it's so interested in what's happening in the stands. I'm like, bro, this ain't got nothing to do with you. Do your job. I'm doing my job. I'm watching my kid. It's a strike. I didn't like it. Bad call, Blue.
Bad call, Blue.
You just keep it moving.
Right. That's it. I mean, how many times have it been heckled, as an ump?
Right.
Or somebody doubt your call. I mean, he should be used to that. Just because it's coming from the coach doesn't make it any better. I mean, you just asked him a location.
Right. And the coach is supposed to be the person that's supposed to be able to say,
right.
"Hey,
it wasn't a kid. If it was a kid, that'd be another thing.
They're the only to the umpire.
But my dad
can't talk.
My father refereed college basketball at the highest level. He was the Division I.
That's impressive.
Right. And he also did a little bit of NBA at the end of his career and stuff like that. Yeah. But he always used to tell me, because I got more of the referee perspective than the player's perspective from him.
Yeah.
And this stands true. The best games you ever seen or been to or been involved with, the referees were the littlest or the least part of that whole thing. And, having them be there officiating the game and not be noticed is the goal.
Right.
And a lot of times the guys don't feel that way, or they feel like they should be a part of the action. So they kind of interject themselves where they probably shouldn't. And that's where we get these nonsense things.
Yeah. Officials, stewards, referees, whatever. Like, we're not here for you.
Stewards.
We don't care about
we didn't come to see you.
We don't even care about you.
We didn't come to see
Nobody
you.
Came to see
take my horse down.
Right.
I mean,
real quick.
Do that.
Go ahead. Before we dive in honor of the big game from now until the 9th of February, 15% off of everything in the SGPN merch store with the promo code Big Game. So check that out. Get yourself some Notorious OTB gear. All right, what are we going to be talking about today, guys? It's Purple Horse season at Gulfstream Park. As Prince once said, "Purple horse, purple horse."
No, he did not.
I don't remember that.
I did not.
Okay.
No, I did
That's
not.
my bad. I gotta double check AI sometimes. We're talking Pegasus Day here. That's this Saturday, the 25th of January, year of our Lord 2025. We're gonna be taking a look at the all stakes late pick 5 post time for the sequence 3:13 Eastern, 2:13 God's time, 12:30 Pacific time, out on the Pacific coast. And we got the grade 3 William McKnight, the grade 2 Pegasus World Cup Philly Mare Turf, the grade 2 Inside Info, the grade 1 Pegasus World Cup Turf, and the grade 1 Pegasus World Cup. Barry, let's kick it off with you. What'd you think about this sequence?
Excellent sequence. I am spending up because it's a big day. You know how I feel about that, where, it's good to kind of get out there and throw a little more money into the pool in hopes and aspirations of getting a lot of that back and then some. So yeah, I thought this was a really good sequence. Deep fields, competitive fields. There's some chances, some opportunities. No huge, overwhelming favorites. So This is something we like.
There we go. I thought it was a pretty tough sequence. There are a couple of races in here that I just have trouble with. I have trouble with turf marathons. But Ken, what did you think of this pick 5?
It's 5 races, right? That's
Yep.
all that matters to me.
There you go.
I don't even care about the titles. I don't care about the grade stakes. I don't even care. I've taken a completely opposite approach. My job obviously was to promote and market. So you have to say, hey, it's the grade 1, whoever's name, give them their honors every single time you talk about it. But in the reality of the situation, it's just a race with 11 or 12 horses that are all kind of the same level. And so when I just stopped thinking about the graded stakes stuff, I stopped thinking about, the level, and I start thinking about, okay, it's another opportunity. And like Barry, you say, it's a big day. So the only thing that really makes it special is you're going to get bigger fields for bettors. That's all we care about, because like the caliber of the horse, I don't know if that really matters as much, because we've seen on these days, anybody can win these races. So it's really all about, okay, what is your approach? How strongly do you feel about that? And that's why I like it. Like, there is a good sized field. I have a really strong opinion. If it works out, you guys are going to hate me because you're never going to hear the end of it, but I'm going to tell everybody, right? And it just doesn't work out. You go on to the next day. There's a whole nother card coming up right after that. So it's like, I don't even trip off this stuff anymore. I'm like, it's a really great opportunity coming up Saturday, no matter what track you're playing. But yeah, Gulfstream Park is going to be super fun.
There we go. Let's dive in with the first race, race 9, 12 furlongs, $250,000 William McKnight Stakes, grade 3 on the turf. And this might have been the race that I struggled with the most handicapping in the sequence. You got 2 horses heavily favored. There's just one issue. It's that neither of them really like to win. I thought that we had a false pace up front, and that it was a horse that had some big closing kick, probably, that wins this race. I couldn't stay away from one of the heavily favored horses, but I'm going to back it up with the price because I don't single closers. Barry, what direction did you go with the William McKnight?
I thought this race was really, really tough, to be honest with you. There's a lot of ways you can go in here. The pace scenario doesn't look all that established, I guess you could say. It's really hard to see who's going to do what. But I went with the, most likely contenders. I went with the 1, 3, 7, 8, 10, and 11. And if I had a top pick, it would probably be the 7 Harrow at 15-1. I think this horse is coming in this race the right way. Kind of has a base in Tampa, and they do well over there. But since Safi claimed this horse has, turned into quite the monster. Is 2 for 3 or 2 for 4 or 3 for 4, sorry, since the claim, or actually 2 for 3 since the claim, but 3 for 4 in his last 4, and has stepped it up in competition. And I think this is just the next logical step. Should fly under the radar here and give a good account for himself. These are tough races. We don't get a lot of marathon type events, so it kind of ends up being a little bit of a crapshoot.
I'm going to jump in and give you my picks next because Barry.
Look at us. Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
Yeah, I use Harrow at 15-1 on my ticket. I mean, the horse technically, earned the right to face tougher with the win last out. He's in for Safi, and Safi thrives in South Florida. I mean, he's hitting at 19% for the meet, 28% when him and Edgar Zayas team up. And Harrow has the ability to win from deeper off the pace or closer to the pace. I like that I get the versatility there. It's amazing this horse was claimed for $16,000 April of last year, but it's, how you say, taken off in the Safi barn. And then the only other horse I used was the favorite, the 11, Bold Act at 2-1, because I quit trying to beat Chucky Apples and Billy Buck about 2 years ago. I've rolled over and showed them my soft, vulnerable underbelly. And this looks like the best horse in the race on paper, but it hasn't been winning as of late. I think this one took a little bit of a Dubai bounce and starting to round into form to run a big race here. What about you, Ken?
Wow. I look at that Bold Act selection there, and I feel like that horse, and I totally understand what you're saying about trying to beat those connections on big days. It's really difficult to do. But if you are going to beat a horse like that, I'm taking the stand against that horse coming off of the break. I can see the horses ran well last time out coming off the break, but I'm going to take that gamble that the horse is not going to be ready to go. I don't know if you guys do this. Do you, and I'm going to try to ask this question and be specific. Do you handicap according to a tactic that worked before? Like if you did something that you had never done before, you try this tactic, turn back in distance or whatever the case may be. Do you stick with that and use that again when it comes up? Yes?
Almost to the point where I get hyper focused on it, where if it works, I'm always like looking for it.
See, I'm more of a situational type guy. If it fits, yeah, I'm all for it. But if it's not there, I'm not pulling the trigger.
I'm a combination of both of your answers there. A long time ago, I remember the first time that Bob Baffert had a horse named Richard's Kid. He ran that horse in the Cougar 2 or whatever, and that thing's like 1.75 miles at Del Mar, I do believe, or maybe it was at Santa Anita. Then he brought the horse to the Pacific Classic, which was a turn back in distance. I got Richard's Kid that day at 20-1. And so I've always been aware, okay, if I'm taking a horse that's in a route race, 1.5 miles, I want to find a situation where they're turning back if I can. Utah Beach is the horse that's doing that. Utah Beach comes out of the race going 2 miles. You can see that there with Gaffalion. I like that a lot. And I like the way the horse finished. And so while the question of the pace, like you were talking about, Barry, we don't really know where the pace is going to come from. And I'm pretty sure that's why you use the 1 to the inside, because Frankie's probably he's going to try to get away. And I realized that I kept thinking, I was like, should I add that horse? I'm like, nope, I'm going to be a dumbass. I'm going to be stubborn. I'm saying no. So I'm going to go with Utah Beach. And then I think you also use the other horse that I really like in here, because I like what this horse did at Laurel Park, and it's Yamato, the number 8. This horse won a race going 1.5 miles. I think it's the Japan Cup, whatever the heck. Yeah, Japan turf thing there at Laurel Park with my man Special K, Horatio Caramanos, who was awesome, by the way. But I like, if you go back and watch that race replay, you'll see that horse was, upper middle pack, made a move, had to stop, had to deal with a little bit of traffic. It wasn't all that dramatic, but it's still going 1.5 miles and you have to stop. And then he gets it going again, and he's super strong in the stretch. Now you're going to give me that horse. He's had plenty of time to get fit, and you're going to give me Louis Saez, and you give me 15-1 on the morning line. Are you serious? Are you just giving me money? I love you. I love that. Oh, I am worried about your 1 though, Barry. I am a little bit worried about that, but I'm just going to have to be big boy and say, bleep it. Let's go. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to take stand somewhere, and why not in the first race? But I saw that race in person, that 2-mile race at the Jerkins.
Yeah,
and it was a really strange race that Lord Eddard Stark won.
Mm-hmm.
The horse kind of just won it by accident and beat Utah Beach. Utah Beach should have probably won that race, and it was just such a strange race. But I do like that Utah Beach pick. Obviously, I picked him as well.
Yeah.
He should obviously get the trip. I mean, if there's anybody that you think could get the trip and likes the distance, it's that horse.
And then I think I may have told you this before, Barry, before you move on, man, to your selections. On big days, I've told you, like, if there's a jockey I've never hit with before, I try to include them on big days. I've never cast Gaffalione. Never in my life.
What?
Never.
Wow. He wins big races too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But name me a horse that you think that I would have picked that he was riding.
The only one I could think of would probably be War Will.
Exactly. And I was like, yeah. I think I had him before and he didn't win. So I was like, nah, I ain't got time.
Yeah, we're not. Yep. Yeah. I'm with you, because I was like that with Russell Bays, and this guy wins 1 million races, but I'm very contrarian to the favorite. So
of course.
You gotta think that's why I didn't hit him very much.
Yep.
I know that Rudy Brissett wins races, but I've never seen actually laid my eyes on one of his horses winning a race. Real quick, before we hit our next race, playoffs. We're talking about playoffs. You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SGP. That's code SGP for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
All right, we are back, and what are we doing? Barry, Ken, and I are giving out free picks.
And I make nothing. Zero. Zilch. By the time I pay all my scientists, all my people in my research department, lab coats, it's a wash. Well, why you do it then, baby Billy? Well, because I'm selfless.
That's right. Because we are selfless, we're moving on to race 10, 8.5 furlongs. $500,000 Pegasus World Cup Filly and Mare Turf, Grade 2. I'm going to take a shot with a single in this race.
Yes, I'm singing. I want to mingle.
You want to mingle?
Yeah.
I'm going to single the one Rakaya at 4-1. It's chalk, but at least it's lukewarm chalk, and it checks all the boxes for kind of horses that I'll single. She's going to make her own race on the front end of this race shape, and frankly, I think this horse might just run this field into the ground. You got Frankie Dettori, who stays on the mount for this one after wiring the field at Del Mar in November. And I think Todd's got the screws tightened on this one, and it's been working, lights out. Plus, we got the Frankie Dettori tax avoidance scheme, got barristers and back taxes to pay angle here with Frankie on the mount. So I am single to the one Rakaya. What about you, Ken?
Well, I have a theory that, not a theory, I have an angle. And my angle is this. There's a particular Hall of Fame rider that I was totally ignoring for like 15 years, like a dummy. I don't know why. And then for some strange reason, the last 3-4 years, I started to pick up on this rider, and I've like made a lot of money. And I've been like, what was wrong with me? That rider is John Velasquez. And I have decided that if there is any race where I see John is in a position to do what John does, he's incredible. He is stealth-like. He does these things where I have no idea how he's up against the rail, or I have no idea how he's 3 deep, and then he slips right through. And I'm like, where the frick did he come from? He's got Sacred Wish, and this horse has tractability. Like, he can put this horse, if you want to try to take off to the inside, guess what? Hi, friend. I'm right behind you. Johnny V's right behind you. And if you get the lead with that horse to the inside, would you think that you might? I think there's other speed that'll tackle you. And I hope that they do, because Johnny sits right behind you. And if John is ever in position when they turn for home, that's a wrap for you, son. So, Sacred Wish. I love that horse. It's not a single. I'm going to put another horse in there in the mix, but I really believe that Sacred Wish is going to be in the perfect spot.
Well, there we go. Barry, where'd you head in the second race in this sequence?
It's interesting to see our picks here, because I don't think we have any overlap in this race at all. Oh, no, we do. We do. Me and Ken have a horse. I thought this race had quite a bit of speed and set up for closers. Now, the horse I like, or would be my top pick, would be Fluffy Socks, who's the best closer here. And, this horse has been searching for a trip for probably about 6 months. And I think she finally gets it here. But I'm not going to single a closer, a dead closer like Fluffy Socks, even though I do like that horse in this spot. I'm going to use Manushka the 7, the 8, Papilio, who also has a good closing kick. And I'm also going to use the 3, Be Your Best. I think this horse is just a hot horse. And the cutback to about a mile fits this horse perfectly. You saw that last time. She won pretty decently at Gulfstream in the Swanee River. And I think she's going to get a good trip again. So we're going to use that one too. The 3, 5, 7, and 8.
And you can't ignore Safi on a big day in Southern Florida.
Not a mercy.
All right.
Hey, you know what though? I got that's like something that I don't know if that's true now. Like, what's his percentage right now again? Is it 20?
He's at 19. Yeah, 19%
Yeah,
from
about
meat.
20. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like lately he's kind of been falling off on big days.
Yeah.
He was like a play against for me, like absolute. I was like looking at his horses, and I'm like, you know what? I think you might be at the end, not the end. I'm like, you might be in a lull. So I'm gonna try to hit you and kick you while you're down. Take that. Take that, Uncle Joseph. I'm playing against your horses.
All right, we're here at the what I call the hump day leg of the pick five, right here in the middle. 7 furlongs, $215,000. The inside information stakes, grade 2 on the dirt. Pretty stout little race. Plenty of notable early speed, plus another horse I think we'll have to send because of the post draw. I've got a couple horses that should get a first run type trip. I'm using another that will come from a little further back. But Ken, why don't you lead this one off? Let us know what direction you are headed in the inside information.
Oh, well, you mean because I'm pretty single city here, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'm going to go with our man to do what he does. Also on big days, right? You have a horse that's just much the best, or there are certain riders that do certain things. Irad Ortiz Jr. is the rider that does certain things on big days. And what is that? He intimidates and he dominates. And I think he's got a live mount there with Mystic Lake. I think the horse, I don't know if he's the quickest in the field because obviously it's a sprint race, so there's tons of speed there. But just with what Irad does out of the gate, and this horse has the ability to sit just off. So if anybody wants to get froggy and jump out there and try to cook, he's like, good, go for it. And I think he's going to be in a great spot. There are some closers that I'm a little concerned with, namely number 3 with Jose Ortiz. But I decided to think about it. I was like, you know what? This is an opportunity to pare down some things so I can maybe get some more coverage a little bit later on. And I think it's valid. And plus, I don't think Jose's actually ridden Sterling Silver before. I think Irad rode that horse before. So I'm going to go single. I'm going to single the 7, Mystic Lake. Good luck when you come into the stretch trying to get past Irad. Good luck.
Now, the women love you when you get out there. Why do you think that is?
What'd you say?
The women love you when you get out there.
Why is that, ladies?
Well, I'm asking you.
Huh?
I don't know. I've been playing that clip for years. I just now realized that he's wearing like yellow safety goggles, like the kind that you would buy at the hardware store. God, the man is. I'm so glad I got to see James Brown before he died. Love the man.
Hold on. Tell the story. How was it? What did he do? Where was it?
It was like 2002, probably.
Okay.
So towards the end of the career, and it was good. I mean, he was still the hardest working man in show business. We got like a good 5 cape throws through please. So I mean, the man was in rare form for sure. Doing his thing, dancing, flirting with the backup dancers.
How long did it take for him to come out for the first song? So when the band was playing to when he comes out.
Oh man, it was good. He let it build. He let it build for sure.
Had to be an hour.
Yeah, man.
Oh, good for you. All right.
Hard. Maceo was working hard. Barry, what'd you do with the inside information?
I went skinny here too. I didn't think there was too many surprises, other than the fact that Ken picked a Safi horse with Irad. I thought that was surprising considering the story he told the race before. But I think the 2 outside horses, Olivia Darling and Emery, might be too good for these, especially Emery. That horse might drown this whole field. I think that horse is awfully good. But I would say my top pick would be Olivia Darling. This horse likes this track, has a nice closing kick, and getting back to Gulfstream is probably the best thing. I know this horse had a couple of races out of town, one at Delaware, one at Churchill in his last 3 races, and she just didn't fire at all. And getting back to Gulfstream, she got back to the $62,000 claimer, won pretty big. I think that's the jumping off point, and this horse is going to run big on Saturday.
There we go. I went 3 directions. I went 3 deep here. I'll throw in the 2 that no one mentioned. I'm using the 2 Nick Style at 5-1. Insert Matthew DeSantis making fun of me because I think that every single sprint race is going to melt down. But I thought that, it should be sitting a ground saving trip on the rail behind the early speed and have first run. The 2-back effort in the Pumpkin Pie Aqueduct was fast enough to win this race. And if the rail is good, I could see this one having a shot after running a nice little pocket trip. And then the other horse is the 4, Holland Ice at 15-1. Just want to throw out there that this one is an Archie bred.
I was steep raised. You think I'm scared to catch a case on some bullshit?
It's another sappy horse stepping up in class, coming off a win at a lower level with a $100,000 optional claimer race against open competition Oaklawn. And I consider this one to have, earned the right to face tougher. And this one is a non-graded stakes winner at this distance at this track. So has the ability to sit up close to the pace or, sit a little bit further off the pace. It's going to need to take a step forward. No lie, but I think it's good to go. And the other horse I used was the 9, Emery. So I was 2-4-9 there. Real quick.
Those are Safi disciples, huh?
In certain situations, absolutely. I guess you have to be able to use them. I got a question for both you guys. Based off of your selection. So you see the numbers that we utilize there, your time form US pace numbers, right? You're early and you're late. Right? One of the horses you picked has a horrible closing kick and you're using it as a closer. Do you look at those numbers or not? The 2 has a horrible closing kick, according to those numbers.
Sure. I look more into the actual running line. Did they, win from off the pace? So you see Nick Style sitting about a 1.5 off, sitting about a half off. I like to factor in those early pace figures, trying to figure out who's going to go for the lead. But then I try to take into account what the horse does naturally and how it runs on its own. Because
you see him as a closer, or you see him as just like a presser?
I see him as like a presser. I'm not necessarily on any sort of closers. They're all sort of that second wave, first run kind of thing.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Me personally, I use those as garnish. It can only reinforce what I already see.
Oh, the numbers. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So, if everything lines up and those numbers agree with what my assessment is, then yeah, I'm all for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I will take pause if I see that it doesn't match.
Right.
What I'm looking at, and I'll take a deeper look, but that's usually the extent of my involvement with those numbers.
Okay. I utilize them primarily. I go to that if I see there's a lot of speed, I'm looking for the closer. I go try to find the horse with the largest number for the.
Yeah, I mean those figures are very, very accurate. So and they will give you a good indication of whether a horse is closing or being on the lead. So I mean, I guess that's their job.
Yeah. What does he get? A 93 on Emery? Is that what they get?
Yeah, she's probably both.
And then what is the 3 getting?
The 3 is getting
108 late.
See what I'm saying? That's why I was like, and he's turning back in distance. That's why I was like, okay, do I want to use the 3? But Jose's never ridden the horse before. Sometimes for me, that's kind of tough.
That's sometimes it's tough, but sometimes it's good.
Yeah.
He doesn't really ride for Bill Mott too much.
Right.
But when he does, they win. They hit it a pretty decent percentage, and And Jose is on a lot of live horses tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
That aren't favorites, so be aware.
Yeah, I might do something maybe I might have to just add value to my ticket, and that 3 horse to me, I would be really upset if I like that horse and I do like the horse, and then I left it off at the last second. That's how we kill ourselves as players.
Oh man, those decisions.
We're almost on to the penultimate leg. Real quick, got to get a word in from our good friends at Underdog, because Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. NFL, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. And you can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. So sign up with promo code SGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by the good nerds at Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build your model for you. If the NFL playoffs haven't been going your way so far, Rhythm will help you turn things around. With 3 games left, the 3 best of the season, Rhythm's AI-powered predictions for prop bets and game lines will set you up for success. through the Super Bowl. So NFL picks, NFL props, college basketball, and NBA. Rhythm has it all. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. If you excuse me, I need to get a brief rehydration interlude in.
Yes. Say this, say go DJ, cause that's my DJ. Say go DJ, cause that's my DJ. Say go.
We are on to the penultimate leg, race 12, 9 furlongs, the $1 million Pegasus World Cup, grade 1 on the turf. I, of course, will have the Chucky Apples and Billy Buck horse on my ticket, but I intend to back that up. Back up that one chalky horse with some longer prices in this race, because once again, I don't single closers. Barry, take it away. What are we doing for the Pegasus World Cup?
We're gonna be a little Captain Obvious here. I'm using Nation's Pride. Unfortunately, I really don't want to, but this horse looks so good on paper that you really can't not use this horse, because on paper this horse should run first or second. However, I'm going to use the 8 Spirit of St. Louis as my top pick. I think this horse is better than the competition that this horse has been facing. I know state breds in Aqueduct and New York. This horse was handling business, don't get me wrong. And when stepped up, this horse ran well. You see that race October 5th, the Turf Mile at Keeneland, wasn't far off Carl Spackler, More Than Looks, Mountain Bear. And these are the best of the best that you'll see over here. That being said, I think this horse is flying under the radar, should get a nice trip. At 20-1, Chad Brown, Tyler Gaff. I think this horse, kind of fits the bill. Also, that horse beat Jerry the Nipper, who came out of that race and won a nice race on the synthetic either last week or the week before. It is last week. So we're going to use that one. We're going to use Nation's Pride, and we're also going to use Major Dude, who I think took a huge step forward last race on December 21st. I think he can come out of that and run another big one. So we're going to use the 6, 7, and 8.
Ken, what about you, sir?
I'm going to go with Barry on that 6. I like Major Dude quite a bit. I like the progression the horse has made the last 2 starts. I really like when I see a horse winning back-to-back or 3 out of 4 or 2 out of 3, I don't care, but being in good form with 2 different riders. That's when I'm like, okay, there's no secret sauce to getting Major Dude to win. Flavien Prat, last time out, 2 starts back. Then Irad last time. Irad retains the mount, comes back for Todd Pletcher, who's got his choice. Todd can go to anywhere he wants to go to. And Irad and I think Todd are going to be in a perfect spot there. Major Dude, the right horse going in the right direction. But I also feel like this kind of race and this kind of day is right for other horses that are prices that just need to kind of make one adjustment. And I felt like the 9, Balnikov, is a very interesting horse that's always in the mix for Phil D'Amato. And I think this horse will be in the right spot. And Oisin Murphy going to be in the irons here. I just think there'll be a nice closing kick for that horse now, second off the layoff, going to be in a great spot. And then I told you that I am decidedly riding with one particular jockey. If I see that he has any kind of chance to make something happen, I'm going to utilize him. Some situations better than others, but I think I'm utilizing Johnny V is going to be on the 11 in here. I think that is something Sonata, Grand Sonata. Yeah, there they are. Yeah, they are. And taking the blinkers off. So that didn't really matter last time out, even though they were right there, probably a little bit closer to the pace than they wanted to be last time with those blinkers on. Now they take them off, they can settle back a little bit. Johnny V probably won't have the horse too far back. His thing is to get good positioning. So I think Todd Pletcher's got a couple of chances in here, and I'm going to go, I think, 6, 9, 11 here in this race. But I'm with you on Major Dude for sure, Barry.
So I've got a little bit in common with both of you here. I definitely use Nation's Pride at 2-1 because I am at my core a coward. That's really what it comes down to. And then I also
can't be scared. You can't be scared.
That's true. But I'm branching out here a little bit. I did use Grand Sonata at 21. This is Barry's son, Grand Sonata, I believe, because he hit this one at Kentucky Downs. I think this horse, the Kentucky Downs race maybe took the starch out of it a little bit, but he could be right again. And I like the mid-pack trip I think I get from him. The other two horses I used, Hermano Ramon, 3. With the 3, I ran a really strong race going 9 furlongs at Santa Anita to come up less than a length short to a really good turf horse in Johannes and the San Gabriel on Christmas Eve. And this one's pretty consistent works at Santa Anita before he shipped in. So cutting back in distance where he finished in the exacta both times. This one you might need your tinfoil hat for a little bit. The 4, Win for the Money. Timeform disagrees with me, but I kind of thought that Win for the Money makes the front on a slower pace in this race. If that happens, then I want this horse on my ticket. I think the more inside draw is going to help help Win for the Money quite a bit if he does want the front. This one is also run triple digit buyers in a pretty regular pattern. The horse seems to have an every 3 race kind of form cycle, and this will be the 3rd race following the last 102 buyer he ran in. So who knows? I think Win for the Money could be sitting on a big one, and if the pace doesn't quite shake out and Win for the Money's alone in the front, I don't think you can afford to have him off your ticket.
I could see that.
Oh,
I can't see the horse getting the lead, but I can see the horse like being there. But I mean, like, why would I discount a 12-1 horse? Yeah, man, like, go for it.
Do it.
Do it.
I know that Barry is alderman of Ward 4 of No Chalkville. He definitely agrees, but he also
co-signed every long shot ever.
Yeah, but he boos me for Nation's Pride for being a coward.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'd boo you more if you had integration on your ticket.
Wow.
Oh man. I'm once again in that sticky situation, Barry, where you can't have this face and sound like this and say things like I'm against integration. That doesn't come out very well. So
I got you.
Or does it?
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Doesn't it get you an immediate audience? Right?
That's true. This isn't Rumble. If it were Rumble, I would totally agree.
You said it. Go to hell.
Tell him.
Yeah.
The chat on Rumble gets crazy. I've done a couple of shows over there. It is
in.
wild. Bone in. That was it. That was the penultimate leg. We're on to the final leg of this pick 3, where we hope to be able to score and win generational wealth, where we can talk to the help like this.
Hey, don't rub on that. You block that. You understand? That's alpaca. That's $25,000 alpaca. You block that shit. Right. You don't rub on. Put the club soda on there.
The more I see that clip, the more I think he is way too calm. Because if somebody spilled wine on my $25,000 alpaca rug, I'm rolling somebody in that thing. And they're getting taken out with it to the trash.
Because at that point, you probably have...
Okay, that's why you're not Frank Lucas.
That's right. Yeah, I'm not that smooth, unfortunately.
Right.
That, and if you're able to do that, you probably have like a lot of alpaca money at your disposal. You can can just, All
right, so I guess the level of angst was appropriate. I thought it could have been higher.
And there it is. That's why you're not a successful drug dealer, Barry.
That's true.
That's why. Try harder.
Where we hope to be so bougie that we can speak to people like this.
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. With your broke ass.
Maybe
like
be so.
I was going to say it was like one of those things, Ken, where I look a certain way, so people assume that anyway.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Got it at the store the other day.
Really?
Where
yeah,
we can hopefully be so eccentric that we finance our own mixtapes.
Yo, I just bought a dinosaur like Nicolas Cage. Hey, what happened? Hey, what's going on?
Ken has a
9 long, $3 million Pegasus World Cup. Grade 1 on the dirt. Barry, I'm gonna let you take it away, buddy.
Take it away, I shall. I mean, we've seen, big races. We've seen small races, but in the end, they're just races, right? Just like Ken was saying earlier. And I think we have a sort of situation, not that this is an ordinary race, but it's going to play like an ordinary race. You know, we've seen plenty of times where horses have a distinct pace advantage over everybody. And we have that in Saudi Crown. He's the fastest horse. He's going to be in front. I'm not sure if Newgrange or Mixto could really hang with this horse. If they can't, Saudi Crown should have the easiest time on the lead. And this kind of is akin to when Knicks Go won the Pegasus. You know, there was all this rumbling about, you know, who's going to run with him, this, that, and the other. And nobody was there. Nobody. And he won the easiest Pegasus you'll ever see. And we might have that situation with Saudi Crown. But I'm also going to use the West Coast Invader Stronghold. I think this horse is just gotten better since he laid off in September. That race he ran in the Malibu was excellent. Raging Turret is razor sharp. And he held his own and it ended up running faster than he did as a 3-year-old. And I think that bodes well for him stepping up again and breaking through and being a top-notch horse this whole year.
Ken, what about you? How are you bringing it home?
Well, I love a horse, and things have to break my way. And the weird thing about it is if everything breaks my way with this horse, I'm not necessarily going to be greatly rewarded. Hopefully it just helps me hit the pick 5. But I love horses who are developing, getting better coming into a race like this. And Locked is the horse to the outside with guess who? Johnny V.
Johnny V.
And I think he's going to be in a beautiful spot. I like that this horse was already a talented horse that just couldn't quite get it together to get to the Triple Crown. It was already talented, had already been able to win stretching out. In fact, really only wants to go probably a route of ground. But the offspring of Gunrunner, as they continue to get a little bit further in distance, I think they get stronger and they get better. What this horse has done the last 2 starts, from the 7 furlong to the mile, the way they're able to sit and the way they're able to, it's not necessarily close, but able to pick off horses and get in position. I think Locked is going to be in a great spot in this race. I do have to say, though, I love what you were saying, Barry, about the pace in a race like this. And if you remember that Knicks Go, wasn't Life is Good in that race?
No, that was the year after.
I felt like there was somebody who was supposed to go and didn't break out of the inside.
No, the year that Life is Good and Knicks Go faced off, Life is Good just took it to him.
That was the situation. It was the opposite. Mm-hmm. Right. So I think about that, and I used to always get so mad. All my years at TVG and FanDuel, if somebody got on the lead and got away in a big race like this, I would be so mad.
Right.
I'd be like, what are you guys doing? Like, my whole thing was like, I don't care if your horse isn't fast enough.
Just go.
If you're 60-1 and you got a little bit of speed and you know that the dude next to you's got lone speed, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get out and go. Like, what are you doing? And so it used to make me so mad. And then I just kind of started to, watch more and realize and, understand that sometimes the jockeys will say, I'm not fast enough. My horse is not fast enough to keep up with that. And then now you see it. You're like, oh, now I get it. I get it now. But I still feel like it's also human intent. Like, if you're intent on going, like, name me a fucking race where you ever saw Patrick Valenzuela get outbroke. Ever. Never happened.
Never
happened. Never lost. There was a guy in Southern California who hated that I said he was the best gate rider and the best front end rider I'd ever seen. It was Martin Pedrosa. And you were never going to outbreak Martin. I don't give what you were trying to do. He outbroke you every single time. Do you guys remember? You don't watch races all day. Do you remember?
I do. Yes, I do.
Oh, Barry does.
5 or 6 years ago, there was a maiden race at Keeneland. And Wesley Ward had a horse, and I want to say James Chapman had the other horse. And you hadn't seen Martin Pedrosa riding in years. Martin Pedrosa came back. Irad had the speed horse, and Martin had a speed horse. And I told everybody, I was like, there ain't no way in hell Irad's going to outbreak Martin. It'll never happen in the history of racing. I guarantee you that. They popped those gates, and Martin was gone. And I'm like, certain riders, they just don't mess around when they have speed. They don't go around. So if I see a rider that I know has got that kind of aggression, then it feels really good to single them. But I don't know who's riding that? Is it Fleurus or Flavion? Who's riding?
Who's?
Yeah. Florent Giroux is riding Saudi Crown.
Right. It's Flocox. That's what we do.
Is he
here.
that aggressive?
Yes, actually. He's
he is?
better. He's better when he's on the lead, personally. I think he is.
All right. So that's the thing about bettors. You got to have that confidence in that what your rider does.
True.
Right? Like if you tell me Mike Smith has speed, I'm like, there ain't no way you're gonna outbreak Mike, and you damn sure ain't gonna outfinish him if he's got the lead turning for home. Forget it. So there are just certain jockeys. I think they hate it when we say it, but I'm like, it's just true, bro. You guys are better at certain things than other things.
Yeah, that's true. They can't be good at everything. I mean, the only person like that is Irad. So
yeah,
and he's not even that great on the lead. If he had a weakness, that's where it is.
You think so?
Yes.
He's better
riding on the
pressing,
lead is not. Yeah, pressing and closing, he's stellar. Man, his timing is impeccable.
I feel like Jose's better on the lead.
I think so.
Might be.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Rosario is the most surprising in terms of how well he rides when he's out.
Why do you want to bring him up?
That's my guy. I should teach a college course on Joel Rosario. But he made his bones out west on the lead. He was a speed rider out there in Del Mar. I remember when he came in. I mean, you couldn't get by him. But now he's total opposite. He doesn't even go to lead anymore, or hardly ever.
There was a time when he was like the closer. Remember when everything was from the back of the pack, and either he would get there and he'd be like, woohoo, or he would just get denied. It'd be like, Joel, what are you doing?
Oh man, he was giving us fits. I remember the text messages going on.
Like this.
It went from no Joel slander to give me all the Joel slander. Oh, it was great.
Yeah, it is fun. It's fun losing.
I went 4 deep to close it out. We used 2. Yeah, 4. I could see. Here's the deal. I put together what some might consider a super ugly ticket. Here's the problem. This is me being critical of myself and of my ticket construction. Is that there are too many races where I tried. Where I saw it as formful but planned for chaos. I saw it as formful. I saw a favorite being able to win, but I also backed it up with the chaotic picks that I could see unfolding. And eventually you have to take a stand and say you're going to beat that chalk, or you have to say that chalk is going to win. So I can already tell you, like, right off the bat, like, I got one of those like ugly tickets that like inside the pylons gets all in your crack for.
Many men wish death upon me. Blood.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm still standing. All right. The only 2 other horses I used that you guys didn't mention, the one mixed 2. I thought the mixed 2 would be sitting a really nice stalking trip on the rail up close to the early speed. I think he pushes Saudi Crown, but he doesn't end up dueling, and it ran a big one in the Pack Classic 3-back and seemed to need a couple races after that. So I think that mixed 2 could maybe take a big step forward, and that could make him a little bit dangerous with that post draw. And the only other horse I used, I'll go ahead and say it for myself.
Not a mercy.
The 10 Skippy Longstocking at 10-1. That's Safi in South Florida. I'm doing it. Ken, I've ever told you that Safi reminds me as the guy who runs your snorkeling excursion on a cruise trip and not so subtly suggests that he can get you Molly. Like, that's what I see whenever like I hear Safi Joseph in my head. But yeah, I think that if this pace gets competitive early, I'll have him sitting a few more lengths back than, further back than normal. And I mean, the 2-time winner of the Chucktown Classic could be streaking late. You guys see what I did there? You get it? Streaker, Chucktown. Yeah. Oh, no, there he is. Barry's on board. Yeah. Barry's on board. Kid's giving me a nice little.
You didn't see the naked guy, Ken? Oh, okay. Yes, I was gonna say.
My problem was I didn't understand the context, so I didn't invest.
There was no context. It was just drunk guy on the track.
So the track just let the guy on.
I don't think they let him. I think
there's no security. Where's security?
Oh, come on, man.
It's West Virginia. They're drinking.
Security's probably 80 years old, bro. They couldn't keep up. It was too cold anyway.
Charlestown capitalized on their moment too. They had it on their social. We had alternate camera angles of in his gold toe socks, just waving something about betting the show at Charlestown, which is a nice touch, which is a very nice touch, given the Charlestown show bet bridge jumpers that we get every weeknight. I love it when that guy pops up in the show pool.
It's got to be the same person, right?
Yeah, and I've told you my theory. He's got a Louis Vuitton duffel just filled to the brim with $100 bills, places it all in cash every single time to get $220 back on $2 with his show bet. Better than a 401k. Better than a 401k, though, I say.
So why do we not like that person who is doing that? Is that affecting our payouts?
Oh no, I love him because then I bet every single other horse to show and hope bad things on his horse. Hope he bridge jumps.
I've always wondered about that. I was like, why? I'm like, if a person comes in and takes that risk, yes, obviously it's affecting our pools. But I'm like, if you're gonna do that, all right, good luck to you. Like, why are you doing that? Like to make 20 cents? Okay.
But when you beat him and you make like $20 on
right,
bet, just pour it all over me. That's like warm butterscotch washing over me, man. That's it for our pick 5. Let's go ahead. Let's recap some picks. Ken, since you're our guest, I'll go ahead and let you lead off
with my ticket.
Yep,
my ticket. Okay, so like I told Barry about this, my whole area and my whole thing is I'm no more 50 cent. I'm like, if I like the horses, I whittle it down. I didn't do the $5 one this time, Barry. I might though when I go back to it. I instead did $1. I'm playing it for the $1, and it's going to be a total of $36. I actually used your Saudi Crown in that last race because I could see the pace scenario. Like I was saying, like I couldn't before, but now I'm like, yeah, there's a horse that could get away. Johnny V should stay right to him. And Krupe, who ran third in the race last year, if they get wild and crazy in the Pegasus, Krupe's going to pick up all of the money coming from way off the pace. So I keep it pretty, I go 2 by 2. I want a single. I might add the 3 in that 11th race and make it a $72 play. But we'll see how I feel about that. If I add the 3, I'll probably eliminate horses in race 12, so I don't have to go over my perceived budget. But that's how I'm doing it there. That's my pick, $36. 2 by 2 by single by 3 by 3. Oh my!
Yeah, that's a TVG ticket.
Yeah, man. I'm like, would you really spend $144 at the track on this?
Yes, absolutely. Because I think it's going to pay. See, if I didn't think it was going to be worth the trouble, I would have probably narrowed down a lot more, especially in the first race, and been like, all right, well, if we connect in the first race, we might be all right. If not, then we can just parlay whatever into maybe a pick 3, pick 4, or just scrap multis altogether and just do verticals the rest of the way.
Yeah.
But I think that this plays a lot better because the pool's going to be big. And just that alone, knowing that the pool is just going to be astronomical, it's worth a shot on a big day. It's not like these days are consecutive. So you could take a shot this first January big day and see where you're at. And then, plan for the next one in March or, April, whatever. So taking a swing like this is typically out of the norm for me because I'm usually like you. I usually have tickets that are under $50.
Yeah.
But in this instance, it makes more sense for me because some of the horses that could win a couple of these races might be big prices.
Right. You just really need, in a sequence like this, maybe 1 or 2 big prices in your.
That's it. One, honestly. I mean, on Derby Day, I hit the pick 4 and I had one price. The horse paid $20. Everybody else was, mid-range.
Yeah.
Between 7 to 1 and, or actually 4 to 1 and 2 to 1.
Yeah.
And it paid, $1,500. So, that's the power of a big pool.
Right. Right. All right, boss. What you got?
We went ahead. We had a $48 ticket for the 50-cent base. 7-11 in the first leg. We singled the 1, Rakaya, leg 3, 249, leg 4, 3, 4, 7, 11. And then once again, we planned for Formful and Chaos all at the same time on this just ugly ticket. I apologize to everyone for my ugly ticket with the 1, 2, 10, and 11. But as I stated, at my core, I am a coward. So
ugly is not bad, especially in a big day. You know, you don't want to do like a redonkulous like $600-700 ticket. I mean, people do that stuff on big days, and I understand the reasoning why, but ugly's okay when you hit big.
That's true. That's true. It's
I think the
it's
most
all about the
important
end
thing-
result.
Yeah. Just have a strong opinion, though, right?
Right.
Is your opinion strong? Do you really, really, really believe in what you're playing?
Sure. Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
all that matters.
I'm gonna need a better. I'm gonna need a better. You know, like, yeah, I believe. Yeah. One of those.
This is Barry, like complete, like you
get
ask
hyped.
Barry, like I'm neurotic. I'm a mental case. And Barry holds me down. He keeps me grounded.
I get him hyped.
Gets me hyped up. Yeah.
That's why you see all the art we got. You know what I'm saying? I'm right there.
Yeah.
Just
in my Buffalo stance.
There. All right. Well, Ken, anything you want to shout out before we get out of here?
Sacramento Kings, baby. What you talking about?
There we go.
Yeah. Hey, can we fire Baker Mayfield for Ken?
Man,
We need to fire him for Ken.
I was trying to explain to my wife. She's like, "How come you don't like the Bucks anymore?" I was like, "Baby, I don't know.
Quarterback.
There's something I do. I just don't like. Like I've been a Bucks fan. I've been riding with all kinds of buster
I know.
backs since 19.
Living the good life too in the Brady years.
Right, and that was my whole problem when they got Brady. And I was like, okay, look, man, you got like a total reset here. So you've got 3 years to find the guy to take over because he's not going to be here that long. And it bothered me that they only won 1 Super Bowl with Brady. They should have won 2.
Yeah.
And then it bothered me that they didn't have a plan when he left. They had no plan for who's going to play quarterback when Brady left. I was like, you still got Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. What are you doing?
Right.
Like,
You got these guys
you
are
get these prime receivers. They're in the prime of their
top
career. You
tier.
don't have a plan. And then when it's Baker, I'm like, man, I'd rather have Jameis. Like, good grief.
If they brought Jameis
I love
back,
everything about Jameis.
Jabu would be
Come on. Jameis
phenomenal.
I love me some Jameis.
That's
dude,
the man. That's my guy.
He's
We
just
strong.
Santa Claus. He is Santa Claus on Sunday.
Crab legs Winston.
Everybody
my
getting
guy. Everybody gets crab legs when Jameis is around.
touchdown for you, pick 6 for you. Everybody getting something. So, Sacramento Kings is what I wanted to say. I'm sorry.
There we go.
My bad.
It works, man. You be a fan of your team all the way. That's what I say. All right. Barry's headed down to the Pegasus tomorrow, so we're actually going to be off this Friday, but we will be back with you next Monday, Lord willing, with our Mahoning Valley Pick 3 show. Give that a look. Got to do something on Monday, Ken.
Slim pickings.
Got to do something on Monday.
Man. Hey, I hit one. So we've done it twice. I hit once.
Yeah.
You're messing with them Ohio breads.
Yeah,
Go get it.
That's Strugglesville.
You know what's going to happen? One day, LeBron James is going to be surfing. He's going to see that. He's going to be like, oh, man, y'all giving all
that's
that.
my man Barry over there. I got that.
It was going to blow up.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I pick one thing to win every single Ohio horse race, and that's heroin. All right, that's going to do it for us here at the Notorious OTB, brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. We will catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.